There's an old Monsignor walking in the streets of Philadelphia one day, trying to get to City Hall to give a talk on theology. And on his way there, he got lost. He wasn't from Philadelphia, and he wasn't really sure about the streets. And so he found a young boy who was on his way home from school, and he said to the young boy, "How do I get to City Hall?" And the young boy answered him, "Well, mister, you go up the street and turn a left on 20th and Chestnut, and there is City Hall." And the Monsignor thanked the young man and said, "Would you like to come with me to hear my talk?" And the young boy said to him, "Well, what are you giving your talk on?" And the priest thought to himself, well, the title is The Metaphysical Distinctions Between the Theological Virtues of Faith, Hope, and Charity, and How They Perdure into Heaven. But he decided instead to tell the young boy, the talk is How to Get to Heaven. Do you want to come? The young boy said, "Mister, you don't even know how to get to City Hall. How do you know how to get to heaven?" Today we celebrate this Jubilee Year of Hope with the feast of Saints Philip and James, and really the hope of judgment as the way home to heaven, helping us to avoid getting lost on our way in this life. And I think for us this morning, we're going to hear much more detailed conferences from Father Charles and Father Cyril about the hope of judgment. But for us, I want us to think about a few ways in which the Easter season and the hope of the resurrection really should give us hope in the final judgment when Christ will again judge the world. And so we're in the middle of the Easter season. This Sunday is the third Sunday of Easter. We're making our way through these 50 days of glorious grace and blessings, singing many alleluias like we haven't sung before. And yet we're reminded then in the gospel that even in the truth of the resurrection and the signs that Jesus has given to the world, we can still doubt that Jesus has risen from the dead. We see this especially in the exchange between Philip and Jesus. Philip says to Jesus, "Master, show us the Father, and that will be enough for us." And then what does Jesus say to him in reply? "Have I been with you for so long a time, and you still do not know me, Philip?" Philip doesn't even see, doesn't even recognize that Jesus is Lord right in front of him. But the truth is, Jesus is Lord. He is there, right in front of him. He appeared to the apostles in the upper room and said, "Peace be with you." He appeared to Thomas, who doubted him last Sunday on Divine Mercy, and said, "Put your hands into my side and believe." But ultimately, Jesus doesn't want us to just believe by these real physical signs, but to believe by our faith, by our hope, by our charity in him. Those three virtues that unite us so closely to him. And so then these readings that we get throughout the Easter season unfold the depth of the truth of the resurrection. That the resurrection is not just acknowledging that the Lord is risen from the dead, but an acknowledgement of the life that we have now been given, this new life with Christ, this new life of grace. And when we keep that in mind, then we see the hope of the resurrection should give us the hope in judgment, and shouldn't lead us to deny the judgment or the belief in the final judgment. Because the judgment is the path home. It's the gate, it's the door which we enter heaven. It's the way which we find our way home when we are lost. When we go to confession and we confess our sins before the priest and ask for the Lord's mercy and absolution, it is like a kind of judgment that we make on ourselves. Here I am, Lord. Here is me. This is my body. This is my soul. This is what I present to you right now, with all of these dirt, crumbs, things I do not like about myself, and wipe them away. You know, it's like when some of you are wearing glasses. I'm wearing glasses. But you go out in the rain, and the glasses fog up. You know, it's so steamy. You feel like you need a little windshield wiper, just go and wipe away so you can see everything. Similar thing happens in confession. When you go in, you come out clean, ready to present yourself before the Lord. That's why we talk about in the sacraments at the end of life, going to confession before death, so that when you meet the Lord at that particular judgment, when he looks at you and your life and everything that you have done, all of your deeds, all of your actions, he will make his judgment and you will enter the gates of heaven, we hope. We have that hope. Judgment is to be loved. It's to be loved because it can be commanded to be loved. It's different than saying, I like judgment. I can say, I like dogs, I like Chinese food, I like beautiful Gregorian chant. But the difference between saying I like all those things and I love all those things is that I can command my love because of my intellect, because of my mind. I can say I love judgment, the judgment of Christ, even though on a human level it is somewhat fearful to think about, well, I'm a weak human being. I make all of these mistakes. I constantly have to go to confession. But that's not what the Lord is saying to us. He's saying hope and judgment because you love me. Have hope in the final judgment because of your love for me. Because I have loved you first. I gave up my body for you. And my death, my passion on the cross, and now my resurrection from the dead. I give you that new life all out of my love for you. So love me in return, and then you will have no fear of judgment in that way. When we think about the Eucharist, this is where we'll end this morning. And the three words that Jesus says at those words of institution: this is my body, this is my blood, and finally, do this in memory of me. All of us here this morning will hear these words. We'll hear them primarily from me as instituting, as consecrating the bread and the wine. But in your hearts, you say them in a secondary way. Lord, this is my body, this is my blood. I give you everything in hope of your resurrection and the promise of everlasting life.